Oh my goodness. Are we live?
We are.
Do we even know how to live anymore?
I don't know. Do you know how to live?
Do you even live, bro?
You're a dork.
What's going on, everybody? What is happening? We're here. It's Sunday. It's been like 3 weeks since our last show because our last show was on the 8th. It's now the 29th. So mathing that up, that's 3 weeks.
You're good with the mathing. Do we even have any friends that still watch us? I see we have Daryl and Susie in the chat, but I'm looking at like, oh wait, there's a bunch waiting.
They're coming. They're coming. There's
We'll see.
like 21 people watching right now. They stuck it out with us.
I know, Liz. Who are you two even? Exactly. Seriously. Listen, we had a lot of crap going on.
A lot of crack?
Yes, that's what I said.
So today's show, we've been trying to keep our Sunday shows down to an hour. Fair warning, this show will probably go a little longer because we got lots of stuff to talk about. Lots of stuff, to get through. Not any really announcements or anything, but we, as you can see from the picture, the cover of this show, we did do our annual Roper romp last night. This was our fourth one to go to. It was the sixth one here in Vegas, where a bunch of people just dress up like Mrs. Roper from Three's Company and hang out and bar hop, and it was super fun.
It's a lot of fun. You wear like a really tacky curly wig of various shades of orange and red, and your best muumuu or caftan, actually, not muumuu. Muumuu's a little bit more Hawaiian with the ruffle. You're going to want to wear a caftan. And a lot of people wear vintage. I mean, I know I wore vintage, obviously. Duh. But a lot of people just wear like current stuff, and it's just fun. It's goofy. The men and the women dress up as Mrs. Roper. It's hilarious to see big burly guys with their hairy chests sticking out of their caftan and their beard with the wig on, and they don't do makeup usually, but it's a lot of fun. It's funny. It's goofy. This was the biggest year gathering that we've had, that we've been a part of.
We've actually outgrown one of the stops. Is hands down my favorite bar in all of Las Vegas, called Silver Stamp. And look, they had horror t-shirts. This glows in the dark. I had to get one, and they had another one, and we might have to go back and get it too, because I was just like, I can't get two, but seriously,
but
cool.
she hasn't stopped talking about it, so clearly
because
we
look
have to
at
get
it.
two.
It glows in the dark, guys. This is such a cool design. Anyway, but it's a very small kind of hole in the wall, purposely divey bar.
They don't even have a sign outside. You have to know about it to find it.
It says once you get to the door, you can see on the door. But anyway, we had so many people, it was like too crowded there. But we had a lot of fun. But my favorite part of it is getting to every person that you see in the group, because it's all these people you don't know for the most part. And every time you see them, you're like, Helen. Honey,
Hi,
Helen. What's up,
Hi,
Helen?
How are you,
You
Helen?
go into the bathroom and somebody comes out of the stall and you're like, Helen. And she's like, Helen. And it's really
so
silly.
Goofy. And this is not the only city to do this. I think it started in San Diego or San Francisco.
So, yeah.
And it's kind of become a worldwide thing now. And it's this guy in town, his name is Luke, put it together, the first one here, and then our friend Dana helps him admin the group page and all kinds of stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's so silly. Love it.
Liz says, how many times has Katy gone to the bathroom with the lights off to see the shirt glow? I did take a picture. I did take a picture of it last night glowing, but not. I just put it on like an hour ago, so I haven't done it yet. Actually, I need to. But what I really love about this shirt is it's new, but the shirt that they put it on, it's got a nice thick collar. It very much looks like a vintage horror tee. Like they did an awesome job at it. But anyway, we had a lot of fun. Probably me more than you, because Vicky kind of realizes, like, while she loves dressing up like Mrs. Roper and doing this, she doesn't actually love bar hopping, because she's not like a big beer drinker and doesn't like.
I'm not a big drinker in general.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong. I like hanging out at a bar. I like having a good drink or a beer or wine or whatever with friends. But the actual activity of the bar hopping, by bar 2, I'm usually like, okay, that's enough for me. I'm done. So. Anyway, it's still fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a good. Oh, Jill says she thinks it started in New Orleans. It may have.
Yeah.
I don't know where it started.
We don't know.
I knew that the biggest one that I had heard of was one that was somewhere in California, San Diego or San Francisco. I'm not sure which. I think they both have them, but I'm not sure which one was the biggest. And then our friend Luke had decided to do one here.
Well, and we had 10 people who came down from Calgary, Canada to join us. I was asking them, like, how did you end up here for this? And one of the ladies said that, oh, we were in Chicago earlier this year. We heard about it and we were like, we have to go. And so they said they're going to come back next year.
And we had some people that came. There was a woman that we were talking to last night that came from another state too to come. Like, there are people that come from all over. Like, if you're going to come to Vegas, I guess if you're going to travel to a city to do something like this, something silly, you might as well make it Vegas, because there's a whole lot of things to do outside of that and to, bracket around your trip. So it was a good time. And as some of you may or may not know, we did just finish with the Boss Reseller remix.
Yes, we did.
Part trois. 3.
We did. So, and we've been exhausted and not doing anything with our businesses really. And it was a lot, because probably I'm working on it a lot of the year, but the last couple of weeks before the actual event, especially for me, there's a lot of busy work that has to be done. And so it's like my life is completely taken over by it. And then we have the week of it, and that's completely taken over by it. And then we're just exhausted. And
the week after is just basically trying to
recover. Trying to recover.
I will say, I'm going to say, I know a lot of you guys that were in the chat were there this year. I'm going to say this was our best year yet. In my opinion, I'm sure we can't please everyone. I'm sure when the surveys come back, there's going to be somebody or a handful of somebodies that are going to bitch and moan about something. However, I do think this was the best year yet.
It didn't go perfectly. There were a few things that did go wrong. There are definitely things where we're like, oh, we definitely want to change that next time. Like, we already have a list of the things we want to change, what we want to tweak, what we wanted to get rid of, what we want to add. And so, but overall, like the content, the energy, all of it, I think it definitely was our best year yet. Tommy
It was our lowest attended year yet, but it was also our best year yet.
Yeah. Well, that has a lot to do with just
the economy right now.
But anyway, but whatever, we were packing the place out, in my opinion. So as Tommy alluded to about the time of year, we did announce on the last day that we are moving the time of year. I know for us personally, fourth quarter, probably not the best idea. Originally, we were going to do this in August, and that ended up being the year that COVID hit. And then we ended up moving it to October, and then we kind of stuck it there. But for a lot of people, traveling during fourth quarter is not the best. And then we realized for us, like having our lives taken over by this thing for pretty much like a month, really, when it gets down to all the stuff that has to happen at the end, it's really not great to have all this time away from our businesses right in what's supposed to be the busiest time of year. And I think it does hurt our businesses a lot. And so we decided with Teresa that we are going to move it to the first part of the year. Now that probably means March-ish. We haven't decided for sure. Now that's not going to happen in 2024. There's no way we're busting out another event in 2024.
It takes 9 months to plan, guys. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We can't get around that. It's a long, arduous process. However, we are going to be skipping 2024 entirely and bringing it back at the end of Q4 in 2023. Think last week of March, first week of April. We're not quite there yet. And 2025, sorry.
Okay, and you just said Q4. Don't listen to anything Vicky said. We're not skipping 2024 and bringing it back to the end of 2023. I know what she's talking about. We're skipping 2024 and bringing it to the beginning of 2025. That's probably going to be March, maybe April. So the first
we have to coordinate our dates and,
yes.
and with the facility and everything like that.
Yes. So no 2024, but it's not going to be 2 years. It's going to be like probably a little under a year and a half from now.
But I will also say it's going to make it a little bit easier for you guys for a lot of reasons. We are going to put our tickets on sale at the end of Q4 next year. So we all know we're a little bit more flush with cash in Q4 because business is busier. So I think that will help people, to be able to plan for and purchase the tickets. We're gonna change up a few things, but same location, same type of setup. We're just gonna tweak some things and make it a little bit better for everybody.
Yeah, and we are most likely, I see some people saying great things about the virtual. We are most likely not gonna have a virtual option. And that's merely because I think it went off great. I think it was awesome for people who couldn't attend. But we will say on the planning side and on the execution side, it takes up a lot of resources, time and effort and attention, especially during the actual week of. It's very disproportionate to where we should be putting that time and effort into. And so we're most likely planning to just have it be in person. So if you're...
Yeah, I mean,
start saving now.
The reality is that we've tried virtual 2 years. We did pre-recorded the first year, wanted to see the demand for it. Second year, sorry. And then this year we did a full-on interactive virtual live streaming.
Yeah.
And the reality is that there's just not enough call for it. People just really want to be in person. And unfortunately, the time and the resources are just not worth it for us to provide a virtual option. And we're not going to do it again.
Yeah. Well, ultimately what happens is the actual week of the event, I kind of act as producer because you have to have one person that's making sure everything's going off the way it needs to go. Mm-hmm. And because it all has to do with technical stuff, it's not going to be Teresa. It's not going to be Vicky. It's going to be me.
Yeah, sorry.
And honestly, the only session I was like, I'm going to step away and I'm not going to be here when it starts was the one that things went horribly wrong on the tech side. So, and that was nobody's fault. It just happens, but you need to have somebody there to make sure things are going. And so much of my attention was put into making sure that the virtual was kicking off when it needed to be. And I really need to be more focused on the in-person experience.
Well, I'm glad that those that were able to attend virtually did, and those that wanted to did. And just like we said, there's just not enough of a call for it. There's not enough people that want to view it virtually for it to be worth our time.
I mean, I think it's tough because, you know, you've got eBay Open does online for their event, and it's completely free. So I think it is tough for people to see like the value in paying for an online experience, and I think that's totally fine. And I also think that, you know, to me, our event is a boutique event, and it's about the experience, and it's really about being there and being a part of it. So now people have like almost a year and a half to start saving your money, start socking it away, come up with like a separate little account, even a piggy bank in your closet. And start,
in your closet, you could just hide it from yourself.
Yeah. Well, did you read The Tree Grows in Brooklyn? They've got their little condensed milk tin can they put in the back of the closet, and they put their money in there. Anyway,
but otherwise, we loved it. We had a great time getting to know new people, meeting a lot of new people. We had a lot of new speakers and a lot of new attendees this year. People we didn't know, people that didn't know us. They had no idea who these people were that put on this event, and they came because of one of the speakers, or they had read about it somewhere or heard about it somewhere. So the fact that, you know, the word is getting out there, this event has never been about us. We're just the facilitators. So I love that people came that had no idea who the heck we were. And they were like, who are these broads on stage talking right now? Who are these broads? But it was a lot of fun. It was fun meeting new people. And I think the luckiest person of the week is in the chat there, Pam. Pam has a horseshoe where the sun doesn't shine, and she had a really great week winning some prizes, and I think
I don't know, we were doing pretty good with slots too. We both were winning.
That's true. I had a good slot week.
Yeah, I didn't play a lot, but I was sitting there after the party was over. We were back, we were waiting for something, and so Teresa was out there with us, and I put some money into one of the machines and won like $600. And I'm not even much of a gambler, so that was nice because I think I had brought like a few $100s cash, and I ended up with more than I took. So I was pretty happy about that. And then the other night, guys, we went to sometimes we'll go to like a local bar here and just play I'll play Keno or whatever. I'd been playing Keno all night, and then I decided like I was up a little bit, and so I decided like, oh, I'm gonna start playing some video poker, and all of a sudden I hit 4 aces, and I won like $500. What? Well, it's
went really high.
Because I never get to be the one that actually wins something, probably because I don't really gamble, but
that may have something to do with it.
But anyway, so it's been crazy, and so we're back. I will say we're back for now. We should be doing our show next week because I think we leave on Monday, the following Monday. We are going. We decided we needed to do more stuff. And so we will have our show next week, but then we're going to be going to Colorado for like 3 or 4 days. We rented a house with a bunch of people, and so a bunch of our thrifting buddies. I see Liz out there. I can't wait to see Liz again already so soon. And so we're going to be just doing some thrifting there. I know some of you like to watch our...
And I saw Angelisa in the chat earlier, too. So we'll be seeing them as well.
And so we also haven't put out any pre-recorded videos the last couple of weeks. Sorry, but this wasn't a huge priority. And I'm not one of those cool YouTubers who gets all the stuff like pre-done and scheduled and pushed out.
Yeah, it's not happening.
It's not happening. But... we are going to come back. I see Jen in the chat, Jennifer Goodale. She came to the remix, and she actually brought me. I've bought from her before, like she shipped stuff to me before, and she was like, "Hey, how about I bring a whole suitcase of stuff for you to buy?" Blah blah blah. And she was like, "We can do a video beforehand, video call, so you can see what I'd be bringing, or I can just bring it and you can decide if you want it." And I ended up, I was like, I don't have time, so she brought this suitcase. and she wanted $250 for it. And then a different night, I actually had a cash out of $250 and I immediately gave it to her. And then I got the stuff, and it's super cool. So we're gonna look at that, and then a couple of videos this week, and you're gonna show some more stuff from your last Colorado trip.
But I also have a couple of things that Yuri gave us to do a little live unboxing or unbagging. For you and I when we do the on camera. And I also bought a bunch of stuff from my reseller friend Callie that came to the remix, Callie Widger. She brought like 3 big bags of stuff for me. She's been clearing out her mom's stuff and some vintage stuff. So I'm going to show you some of the highlights of that. It's a little bread and butter stuff, but really nice of her to drive and bring that for me. So I purchased a bunch of that stuff from her. And yeah, we're excited.
And hopefully we'll get some good videos the following week when we're in Colorado, because we're going to be doing a tour of ARC Thrift.
We're going to do the ARC Thrift tour. And I see Ashley in the chat there. So Ashley, definitely hook up with Liz for her meetup group if you're in the Colorado Springs area. And we'll post where we're going to be. Here's the thing. We're traveling with 12 people.
Yeah.
So who knows what the heck we're going to be doing while we're in Colorado, but if we're going to be, we're definitely going to be at the bins, at least a couple of them. So while we're doing that type of stuff, I mean, if you're following us on Instagram and stuff like that, we'll post like, hey, this is where we're going to be. Come and hang out. Can I tell you what the heck we're doing in advance? Probably not.
No.
But we're happy to have you join us. Welcome to anybody. If you happen to see us out running around en masse in Colorado, please come up to us and say hello.
Yeah.
We're going to be with some people that you guys would recognize. We'll be, Angie and Lisa and Liz, but we're also going to be with Ryan and Allie, Rally Roots, and our friends Yuri and Tatiana. There's like the 12 of us going.
I would imagine like the 7th and 8th are the 2 days that we're there for full days. I'm hopeful, and I would imagine both of those days we'll probably hit the bins first thing each day to get some bins time in. But yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Question from Euretha. I'm never going to stop laughing at your name. I'm sorry. Euretha Franklin cracks me the hell up. So Adam Ireland, his presentation was great. So we organize all of the panels and presentations and speakers. So it's not like anything's a secret to us. We know exactly what's happening beforehand. We ask our panelists to speak and what to speak on. And his presentation was great. eBay has been a main sponsor of our event and a supporter of our event all 3 years. And every year they keep coming back and paying to bring more people every year. So we're happy to have them there. And this year they actually had 2 growth advisors.
Yeah, that was really cool.
At our event, which was really cool. They met with lots and lots of sellers to do in-depth dives on their accounts. And if you were not able to coordinate a meeting on site during the time of the remix, they gave you the information to schedule it for after. So that was really awesome. Looking to try and get Casey, one of the growth advisors, on our virtual meetup coming up soon, so he can answer some good questions.
Well, he said that he would come to like one of our meetups too, right?
Our in-person meetups, yeah, because he's right in the in Utah.
Anyway, yeah, so why don't we go ahead? You want to go ahead and jump into the show now?
Yeah, let's do it.
We had a little bit of a longer lead in just because we had so much stuff to talk about, like my cool glow-in-the-dark t-shirt from the Silver Stamp. Coolest bar t-shirt ever. I never thought I'd want a t-shirt from a bar, but...
We did get light boxes too. Tommy, I'll tell you what, eBay stepped up with the swag this year for our attendees. They gave everyone tabletop light boxes. They're like $30, $40, $50 light box things, and they're branded eBay light boxes. I think it's awesome. We had some really good swag from a lot of the companies this year.
We did.
So that's the other thing too. You get swag when you come in person. You don't get swag when you do virtual.
Oh, and by the way, when we go to do our tour of ARC Thrift, I got Maggie from ARC Thrift, who was also one of our speakers, and she's the host of the Get Thrifty podcast. I got her to agree to let me go through their dirty t-shirts. Because the thing about ARC is they only put clean stuff that's in good condition out on the floor, which is nice. But whenever I hear that, all I can think is about all those t-shirts that probably have holes and stains that end up getting thrown to the side and sent overseas. And I'm like, please, 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 let me go through the dirty pile. And she said I could. So hopefully I can get that on film. That would be very cool.
That would be very exciting.
All right.
Oh, we've got Jay in the chat. Yeah, we had our big Boss IKEA bags too that we had branded for the event, and those are limited edition, guys. There are only 200 and something out there.
Yeah.
So
yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Our show, we break it up into 3 parts. The first part, we look at our real numbers for the last week, our gross numbers from all of our platforms. Then we look at some of the costs, like the fees, shipping, cost of goods, the important stuff you need to know. And then the middle part of the show, we look at our sales highlights for the last week. Although this time we're going back 3 weeks. We got to pick and choose from the last 3 weeks, so we could show you some of the cool stuff that we've sold or interesting things. And then the last part of our show, with the new version that we do now, is we talk about kind of what we've accomplished in the last week and what our goals are for the next week to try to hold ourselves accountable. And little preview, we failed miserably while we were doing the remix. And so we're trying to get back on track just in time to leave again for a week. So yes.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Hey, it's Alexis. What's happening?
Alexis.
All right, so let's go
Jill,
ahead.
I'm glad you got a little bit of swag. That's great.
All right, let's go ahead and look at the numbers. Now, I know for me, I think definitely my numbers, especially eBay, have suffered from not getting all the listing that I was kind of building up to. Also, eBay has just been tough lately. And I feel like Poshmark has been almost more active than eBay. And eBay, I was looking at like the last 3 weeks, and I had a single sale that was $100. And none of the other sales were more than $65, $70. Which for me, I mean, it was a lot. Like I was going through like, oh, I'm going to pick out like my highlights to show. And I was like $40 sale, $50 sale, $40 sale, which is fine. And a lot of people, that's like a really good sale. And not that it's not, but it's like any of my like high dollar items sold on other platforms, not on eBay.
It's true.
eBay has been weird and has not been very good to me.
I have to see Allison's comment there. Next time the swag should be reading glasses and day of the week pill containers. Dude, you're not lying.
It's true.
You're not
it's
lying.
True. Yes. Sunny Miami, do I see the bins being a main source of sourcing now? I mean, honestly, yeah, especially because our bins are so good. It's like, you know, I bought all that stuff from Jennifer them to show you guys this week in a couple of videos. And the average cost was like $5 per piece. And she brought me some freaking great stuff. Like, so I was super, super happy with it. And it was nice to get such a big amount of stuff like all at once without having to source it. But I can go to the bins as much as I want. And, you know, it's a little more digging. But our bins here, you find some really good stuff. And the prices you're paying are just so crazy cheap. So, I mean, we're really lucky to have good bins. So definitely, I think.
I'm going to just briefly answer Sunny's next question, then we've got to move on to the actual show. But from a business standpoint, is there any other source of income that you're using other than selling online platforms? Of course. You know, we obviously only divulge the online sales portion of our income because that's what our show is about and what is, you know, pertinent to other people. But we have some affiliate stuff and you know, obviously putting on the conference is a little bit of a source of income as well. Not this year, but in general. But yeah, we do, you know, we obviously have other revenue streams.
But our main, by and large, our main source of income, like all those other ones, are very, very tiny and minute. They're not substantial.
They're not enough to you know, sustain.
No.
Our
full-time living is made on reselling. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at these numbers, these sad numbers for me. 9 eBay orders, 6 Etsy orders.
9 eBay in the whole week?
I know, it's really bad.
Jesus.
My eBay is under 3,000 for the last 30 days. It's crazy. Like, thank God for all these other
your
platforms.
hustle on, sheesh.
Okay, but I have other platforms too. Okay, my total gross sales are over 2,000. It's crazy. You know, when we were doing our taxes in September for 2022, and I was looking at eBay to break. You look at your the tax form, and it breaks down like by month what you made. And the previous year, October was terrible too. And again, that's probably a lot of that has to do with the remix, but it's also just eBay's just real bad.
Well, the last few years it's been the
once
remix,
upon a
sure.
time. Geez, I remember my first fourth quarter was in 2016. I did over $8,000 in December on eBay with half of the items and nowhere near as good of inventory. So it's a different world now. Anyway, 7 Poshmark orders and then 5 between Grailed, Mercari, and Depop for a total of 27 outgoing orders. 707.59 for eBay, 479.44 for Etsy, 431 for Poshmark. Like, that's pretty good. And I think the previous week I did even better on Poshmark. So
It's a good week.
I'm like, why didn't I become a posh twat much earlier? I was definitely, I was mistaken.
I told you. I
mean, most of it just had to do, I didn't want to do any of the, sharing, that kind of stuff on my own, but I could have jumped on board a long time ago onto the twat train, but I did not. So Grailed, Macari, and Depop together, 402. Yeah, between those three platforms, it's like they kind of sporadically are like, bam, here's a good sale, bam, here's a good sale, but usually not a whole lot. But Poshmark, I mean, come on, just under $500 for the week, I'll take it. Total gross sales just over 2,000. Cost of shipping.
I've got you saying posh twat now, and they all think you're hilarious. I've been saying it for years.
Yeah, I think, but what's funny is that's what I'm calling myself as opposed to just referring to other people. Anyway, $109.87 for shipping. You can see the breakdown of fees there. Cost of goods pretty low because that's what happens when you shop at the bins. And you're going to see a lot of the stuff that I sold this last few weeks, the highlights, a lot of it's bin stuff. So $95 cost of goods. Total net sales, $1,550.37. Thank goodness for my gambling winnings.
I know, but also your low cost of goods. Like they're talking in the chat
true.
now that you're not paying up for your items the way that you were the past several years. I mean, look at how much money you're actually keeping now that you're paying a lot less for your items.
My net income is definitely higher. And you can see, like, so far it hasn't hurt my average sale price too much, actually. I'm still able to find some really good pieces at the bins that are selling for good amounts. But anyway, that's my breakdown of my sales. So just a little over 1,500 net sales. But that's all right.
I would say 95+ % of my inventory comes from bins.
Yep.
Whether it's bins here or bins in Colorado, it comes from the bins. I do private buys. I did buy out someone's entire inventory earlier this year in April or May, March or April. Mm-hmm. And then I do bulk buys from viewers. I have several viewers that will reach out to me when they find stuff, and I'll do a bulk buy here and there. But 99% of my stuff is.
I need to get back to the bins. I haven't been in a couple weeks, and maybe I'll go tomorrow morning since I don't have a lot to ship for the weekend. It's kind of nice going on a Monday morning. Okay, let's go ahead and look at your numbers. What do you got?
So I'm still not up to where I should be on eBay, but considering just like you, I haven't really listed anything in a couple of weeks. I actually just got some listings done this week. So it's been a slow week on eBay for me. So 39 eBay orders. I did 14 on Etsy. Etsy was a great week. 5 on Posh. I had Poshmark and Macari were shut down while we were at Remix. I completely shut both of those stores down. I just extended my handling time on eBay and Etsy. So I didn't really have a lot of sales. And then they did just start to pick up again on Poshmark and Macari, but still much lower than usual. So I had a total of 64 outgoing orders, just over 2,000 on eBay, 957.82 on Etsy, 229 on Posh, which is garbage, but 415 on Macari. Sometimes Macari's been pulling it out here or there. So my total week was a great week. 36.23.61 in total gross sales.
Yeah, that shipping.
My shipping's high, but my shipping always is high. I'm shipping more items, and I'm not selling just small items too. Right. So when you see some of the things that I've sold, you'll see why my shipping was as high as it was. And then you see the breakdown of all the different fees. My cost of goods always low because my purchase prices are almost always bins prices. At $163, and my total net is over $2,600 for the week. So I like my net to be $2,500 and up for the week. That's how much I want to be putting in the bank every week.
Yeah,
and that's a good week for me. So my gross average sale price, I'd like to keep between $50 and $60, which is right on target there at $56.62, and my net average sale price of $41. So it's a good week overall.
Nice. Okay, let's jump right into our sales highlights. I'm going to start us off. I sold my awesome Smoky Mountain Christmas Dollywood sweatshirt that I found at the bins. And I was super excited to find this. And I did not sell it for the price you see there. So this would have been on sale. It's not showing as a sale price, but it was at $97.99. And then I sent out an offer for $65, and that's what I sold it for, was $65. But this cost me like $2, and I was super excited. I saw somebody else had picked it up and then tossed it back down again at the bins. And
I love when you grab the throwaways. The grabbing the throwaways is the best.
I was like, Dollywood, why would you not pick that up? Other person? Ridiculous. Other person? Come on. Anyway, it's super cute Christmas sweatshirt, and I was happy to rescue it from the bins and make a little money on it. All right, what you got?
So I joked about shipping this actually when Danica was here after the remix, and she helped me do some shipping one day because she was like, I can't just stand here while you're doing this. So this one made me laugh. So this sold for $75. I did buy this at the bins. I probably paid $1 and change for it. Some of the Dragonfly shirts, Dragonfly is a brand from the 90s, early 2000s made by Nikki Sixx of Motley Crue. Some of the patterns are fantastic and they're going to sell for really good money. I had a Jimi Hendrix one I sold for like $300. So definitely still worth picking up. But this one right here with the flames is like everything about the late 90s and early 2000s. Like this is like a douche bro shirt, right? Like we talk about posh twats. I got to talk about the douche bro that's wearing a flames shirt. He's got a barbed wire tattoo around his arm and or some kind of tribal tattoo. And yeah, this is it. I am hoping, Danica and I were joking about it, hoping that some guy bought this to wear as a costume for Halloween.
He's probably going as Guy Fieri.
Yeah, he could be going as Guy Fieri. Yeah, it's funny. However, it's pickup Dragonfly is all I'm going to say. Even this one, which I think is so dated, still sold for $75.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that should be a Katy sale. It's true. I just listed an Anchor Blue shirt that is similar to this, only it's got flaming skulls at the bottom.
I mean, come on. Was this not just every guy, maybe with a pair of Jenko jeans under this? Like,
which,
like insane? Who are the ICP? The Insane Clown Posse people.
Oh, ICP.
What is that? What is the
Juggalos?
The
Juggalos, yeah.
This is a Juggalo shirt.
Juggalos are the worst. Anyway, I didn't include this in my highlights, but speaking of this, all this stuff, I did sell. Remember, I got that Anchor Blue hoodie at the bins. I sold it for $50, so I was very excited because I was like, "Will these sell just like the jeans?" And yeah, I sold it for $50. All right, next up for me are these Tommy Hilfiger jeans. These are women's. They're like carpenter sort of capris, like short pants or whatever. All over print. I grabbed them and then actually no, I didn't get these at the bins. I got these at I happened to go into yesterday's Fits and they were having this big weekend sale and they had a huge pile in the middle of the room and it was all $5 items. So I got these for $5 and I was kind of like, you know, I don't know, worth $5 anyway. And I looked them up and I was like, oh, there's quite a few of them out there. And then when I was photographing them, I noticed there were a couple spots. So all in all, I was kind of disappointed. I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have gotten these. And they still sold within like a week and a half, 2 weeks of me listing them.
Susie, back to the wee pants.
It's true. Wee. And I sold them for the price you see there, $69.99. So I paid $5 for them and sold them for $70. So I was super happy about that. And the nice thing about these is they actually had, I don't know if you can see it on here. They actually, I think on the back of this tag, they actually had the date. So they said 2002. So they are
most
definitely
Tommy
Y2K.
Hilfiger stuff is dated. Their tags are really good at that.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know if these are vintage. And then I saw the 2002 and I'm like, sweet. All right, what you got here?
So this I've had for quite a while. I'm not going to lie. I've probably had this sitting in my closet for 2 years. I picked this up. I vaguely remember, I think I picked this up in Palm Springs because I remember showing this on a show that we did from Sandra and Rebecca's house in Palm Springs.
Oh, that's right. We did do a show from there.
So, yeah. So I've had this for quite a while. I know I got it at a thrift. I would not have spent more than $5 to $10 for it. But I do not remember the exact amount. I factored it at about $8 because I'm not sure what I paid for it. It was not a bins purchase. It was pre-bins only buying, I should say. And it sold for the price you see there, $91.96. I just thought it was just a fun, like oversized, really gaudy, ugly print. And it took a while to find the right buyer. I'm surprised it took that as long as it did because I thought it was pretty cool.
I think it's awesome. All right, next up, I had pulled this from the bins and I was like, ooh, I got a movie tee. Somebody else had grabbed it. It had like a big stain on the front of it. I was like, yeah, it's worth picking up. And as you can see, I was not fully successful in getting rid of that stain. I washed it, I bleached it, washed it again, and it still has a stain there. So I was not super hopeful that I was going to make some good money on it. Plus, this is like it was like a trivia book. So this T-shirt was made for a trivia book
about a movie.
Which
is based on a book.
Yeah. So
I love that movie, by the way. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
Yeah.
It was
It's been a long time. So it was kind of an interesting type of movie T-shirt because it was for the trivia book. And so
It's weird.
yeah, and so I know I sent out multiple offers on eBay, probably for like $50 or something like that, but I ended up selling it on Etsy for $89.99. I probably had this for at least a handful of months. It's been a little while, but $90, heck yeah, when I only paid like $1 for it at the bins. So, I mean, come on, guys, you can't go wrong with $1 at the bins.
It's true. It's true.
going
So
with
I
his
did talk
pants.
about these in a video when I showed these. So this is a bolo, guys. This is something you want to keep an eye out for. Lucky brand clothing, especially with this tag. So this is the Y2K tag that you're not going to see on everything, but it's on their yoga style items. So it's going to be like hoodies and zip up hoodies and track pants that you're going to find that logo. You're going to want to pick them up whenever you see them. Look in your closets, look at the bins, look at the thrift stores, because this is the price I got for them. First of all, I bought these at the bins.
Ridiculous.
I sold them for $122. And what I'm going to tell you is if they had a different pattern, a lot of them have like Asian motif patterns down the side or the clouds and things like that down the side. I'm telling you right now, if you find these in a better pattern, in blue or gray or black, you're going to sell them for like $175 to $200. It's crazy to me. I don't know what the thing is right now. I'm not saying it's going to be a thing in 6 months, but right now it's super hot.
What is happening?
So keep an eye out for those. And it's specifically those wider leg, not joggers, right? So they're going to be like a little bit low rise, wider leg, frayed ends on them. I don't know, but keep an eye out. Look at all the Lucky stuff. I've been picking up a lot of the late 90s, early 2000s, Y2K, Lucky sweatshirts, hoodies, pants, things like that. They're all selling and they're selling fast.
Yeah. All right. Next up, I've got this awesome Roper t-shirt.
Good Lord,
t-shirt. This awesome
t-shirt?
Roper
That's
sweatshirt.
awful. That's so hideous.
Why can't I? It's a freaking shirt. It's not a sweatshirt. It's not a t-shirt. What's happening? Anyway, I actually picked this up from an online sale that Yesterday's Fits had, where everything was 50% off, and they had it up for $10, so I got it for $5. And it's awesome. And I sold it for the price you see there, $89.99. So that sale was from like about a month ago or so. Which, by the way, guys, they have a lot of stuff on their website, and they have a lot of stuff in their sales section on their website. And they are a sponsor of ours now. So if you look down below in our sponsor section, there is a code that you can use at any time. And it's just my store name, A Boutique for Him, to get 20% off of anything in the store. But I paid $5 for this. It's been listed for maybe 4 weeks at the most. And I sold it for the price you see there, $89.99. Again, I paid $5 for it. But yeah, this is the kind of
$5 into $90 is always a good flip.
Absolutely. And this is the kind of cool stuff. I mean, I got some cool t-shirts on that buy as well, but this is the kind of stuff that you're going to, like when I'm buying from Yesterday's Fits, that they're going to be selling for cheap because it just isn't going to sell in their normal store.
Right.
Like
They have
it's
not going to sell in their in-person walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next.
How dare you? All right, let's look at 3 of Vicki's blankets that she sold.
Okay, so I just picked these up on my trip last month to Colorado. Mm-hmm. I was heavily sourcing linens while I was there. So one of the nice things about the bins in Colorado that I've been to is that their linens are only like 49 cents a pound. So in reality, I've listed everything that I purchased, and I've sold about 75% of them as far as the quilts and things that I bought. I listed them all in the same week, and they've already sold, and they all sold within the first week or two of being listed. So I did price them somewhat aggressively because I was not looking to sit on them because they take up a lot of space, right? So I pay so little for them. Like I said, 49 cents a pound. Only in Denver at the bins there. And, then I paid to ship this stuff home from the next state over. So worst case scenario, I've got about $5 to $6 into each of these. So this particular quilt, I sold for the price you see there, $118.97. I do also charge shipping on these because they are heavy. So, I mean, if I've got $5 into it and it sells for almost $120 or sells about $120 within a week, that's pretty cool. So that's one. If you do not know anything about quilts or vintage quilts, what I'm going to say is you can sell them even when they're damaged, and you'll see that in the next couple.
Well, and also, if you notice, like, you don't have to have a perfect setup for taking pictures of quilts. Mickey just throws them over the banister.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty hard. They're pretty hard to take good photos of.
And half of her pictures have the shadow of her
from my
cell
phone. I know.
So I'm just pointing that out to show, like, some people I feel like they might put off taking pictures of quilts or blankets or even picking them up.
I photograph them on the floor when I'm able to, and then when they're too big, like this is a king size, I do not have any floor space big enough to photograph that. It goes over the banister.
Yeah.
And I take a photo like that. Fine. And it's fine. Totally fine.
Doesn't matter.
And if you do not know the names of patterns, the other thing too is there are different Google sites. First of all, I have Barbara in my chat there. Barbara is my Google because she is a quilter. Barbara and Teresa are both quilters, so I'm able to ask them names of quilts if I can't find them easily. And that's one of them. So this is another one that sold. This is a crazy quilt. This one is pretty heavy.
Crazy, like,
also really big. Yeah, there's no what crazy quilt means. There's no pattern. It's just all crazy random pieces of fabrics and colors. Put together.
I wonder how well Google Lens does with quilting patterns.
I bet it does. If it's a standard quilting pattern,
that's what I'm saying.
It probably does well. Something like this is just going to pick
I've
up
gotten to now where I will Google Lens almost everything because just real quick to see if it's been listed somewhere before, or you get an idea so you don't miss out on like maybe something really.
Yep. So this one sold for $135.96. This sold very quickly as well. They don't have to be perfect. This one doesn't really have any flaws. It's mostly polyester. So that sold pretty well. And then I'm going to show the third one. And this one I did take on the floor because it's smaller, 62 by 76. However, it's not perfect. So if you scroll, there's going to show some of the spots and things. Like you can see the little spot. I do talk about them. But you can see that there's lifting on a couple of the pieces of the fabric. Stains. Couple of stains. They are laundered. If I can fit this in my washing machine, I'm going to wash it, by the way. And I do. I don't dry clean them. If it's machine washable, it's washed. If it's not, I don't wash them. And this one sold very quickly for the full price.
That's crazy.
Because it's older. So, and I priced it well. If I priced this for $300, I probably could sell it for $300, but it would take a little longer. And it's a smaller size. So, but you can tell when things are made. If you get to know enough about linens, you can tell how old fabrics are, just like you can by looking at materials on a clothing item. So I can tell that this was made from 50s fabrics.
Right.
Again, they're very nicely made. All of these things are hand stitched, and that's what there's a differentiation between hand stitched to handmade and machine stitched handmade. They're both handmade, and you have to differentiate that in listings when you're talking about quilting. It matters to people that purchase and collect quilts.
Yeah. All right, next up, if you remember at the beginning of 2023, I went through and inventoried all of my jackets, actually all of my stuff, but my jackets alone, I had something like 65 or 67 jackets that weren't even listed anymore on eBay and or even necessarily on Etsy or anywhere, and I had to take pictures over again, and this was one of those jackets. I'm like, I can't believe that this has just been sitting in my closet for who knows how long. Unsold because it wasn't freaking listed anywhere, and it's just this really nice down puffer jacket. And so I think I missed the puffer jacket season with the time that I got it relisted. But I just sold it on Etsy for $134.99. So I'm probably, all the stuff that had fallen off was stuff that I had listed almost pre coming to Vegas. And so I can't imagine I paid more than $10, but at this point I don't even care anymore because it was so long ago. So yeah, it almost feels like free inventory, free money, but maybe I paid $10 for it and I sold it for $135. So, I mean, yeah, I had a couple of good sales this week this last couple of weeks that were from those items. So we'll see another one in a little bit, but I love getting REI stuff, vintage REI.
So this is some more quilts. I'm just going to show this one actually sold for the price you see there. It sold for $103.96. Again, it's not perfect. There's lifting and there's stitch separation. You can see those little tiny stitches down here. That's how you can tell that that's hand stitched.
Oh yeah.
Even the seams, they're hand stitched. They're just hand stitched on the other side. There's a difference between, like I said, machine stitch and hand stitch. Hand stitch is a not done very frequently anymore, right?
There's no reason
obviously
to
there's no reason to do it, but when things are made by hand, they're just made a little bit nicer and it's a little bit different. There's more effort. The amount of time that goes into making something like this, I feel like I'm obligated to save it. It's not perfect, but someone spent hours and hours and hours and probably weeks and months creating this beautiful item that was so important to them at that time. I hate to see this type of stuff go into the landfill.
Yeah.
And yes, obviously, hand stitch is going to have a regular size stitches. Yep. You're going to see there's a very obvious difference between them. So again, that one didn't sell for a ton, but I was happy to sell it. This one as well. This one is also a hand stitched one, and it's kind of a different fabric design or quilt design. Barbara and I actually debated back and forth about this because we couldn't figure out if there's an actual pattern or if it was something that someone made up on their own. But you can see that there's holes, there's damage to the ticking. Didn't matter. It still sold for $105. This would have been garbage otherwise.
Yep.
This matters to somebody. I'm saving this and someone is going to cherish this. They're going to rebind it. They're going to fix the issues and they'll probably put a new backer on it. And it's still a beautiful quilt with a lot of life left in it.
Yeah, very cool. All right.
Well, last one of the week that I'm going to show. This is another one. This one I think is probably the least attractive of them, but this is made in the 70s. It's made with all polyester, like double knit polyester fabrics, which I think are some of the ugliest fabrics. However, people like them. Excuse me.
That's you. You're no longer blessed.
This one sold for $169 plus shipping, and it sold on Mercari of all places.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to buy and sell bedding is all I'm going to say. I love linens and I love the bedding, and I'm going to be focusing quite a bit on linens while we're in Colorado next month because I mean, look at what I sold from this last batch already. What was this, $700-800 in 6 or 7 sales?
Yeah, it's crazy. Nice work. All right, next up for me is this awesome Betty Boop racing sweatshirt that I found at the bins. I was so excited. I can usually tell just by like the fabric. Sometimes you get tricked with some of these things, but you can tell with sweatshirts like if it's a vintage one usually. And so even before I saw what the graphic was on it, I was like, ooh, this is a vintage one. And then I saw, get out of here. And then I saw the graphic on it. I'm like, oh, Betty Boop stuff's super popular right now. It has been for a few years. So anything Betty Boop you can usually make some good money with. And listed this everywhere, but it sold on Grailed for $80. I think they made me an offer for $80, and I was like, heck yeah. So I was super happy about that. I paid maybe $2 for it. And it's just a really cool vintage sweatshirt. So Betty Boop is where it's at. All right, what's this?
This was a bins find. It was heavy. This was probably 5 pounds, so I would say this probably cost me $8 and change. But I purchased this at the bins. It is heavy, vintage. I mean, look at this thing. It's just a denim jacket that's Sherpa lined. It's no particular brand. The brand is kind of irrelevant. It's pretty cool though. It had like leather trim. It had the toggle buttons in the front. It's a jacket.
It's a jacket.
It's long. It was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. So it sold for $103 on Mercari. I'm telling you, Mercari stepped up this week.
All right, one of my favorite sales of the week, guys. 'Tis the season. I sold this Pornhub Christmas sweater. Now, if you guys watch the show, you'll remember when I actually showed this in one of the hauls. I saw this and I was super excited, but there's so many of those like Christmas sweaters. There's like different NFL teams. There's different products out there that have their own Christmas sweaters, and they're usually like pretty cheap. They're everywhere. You could buy them anywhere. And so when I saw this, like I kind of laughed to myself, but then I realized, oh, it's not like you could go to Walmart and get your Pornhub Christmas sweater.
I think it's hilarious.
Like, this isn't something that was super widely available.
It's got the Christmas bells look like boobs.
Yeah, absolutely. And so
it's got some pretty irreverent symbols on it if you were to look.
Yep. And so when I grabbed it, I'm like, I bet this will sell for a decent amount.
Merry triple Xmas, as Jay says.
Exactly. And then I looked it up and I'm like, oh, it does sell for a pretty decent amount. And I ended up selling it on Grailed for $149. So I'm very happy with that. I probably, with how much it weighed, maybe I paid like $3 for it. But I mean, come on, who doesn't want a Pornhub Christmas sweater, right?
I think they're. Oh wait,
What?
are they candy canes or she says? Well,
I don't know.
they.
That's a question.
That's a good question.
That's a question.
I'm not sure.
Well, and then it has the mistletoe and says "kiss me," so just saying. Naughty. I don't know if Santa's going to come to whoever's wearing that this year, but I still think it's hilarious.
It's very funny.
And then there's also whatever this is right here. You tell me. I don't know, but I guess it's a Christmas.
I can tell you what it is.
I guess I guess it's a Christmas tree on a stand. It's
yeah.
You always want your Christmas tree to have a flared bottom. So
sure.
Anyway, $150.
This is a child-friendly, family-friendly show with posh twats and
Well, they don't know
Pornhub
what I'm
sweaters.
talking about.
What the
Come
heck?
on. All right. Next up for you. What do you got?
This is just a cute vintage dress that I picked up. I actually don't remember where I got this. I'm sure it's a bins find. I just don't know when. I've had it for a minute. So it's just really cute. It's just a dropped waist, little cute dress. This is the type of dress that when I pick these things up, I think of my little tiny friends like my daughter or our friend Allie that can wear this type of thing and make it look super cute. But yeah, I've had it for a while. I'm sure I didn't pay more than $2 or $3 for it. And it sold for the price you see there, $97 and change. It is on sale right now. It was on sale on Etsy. And it's actually going to the Netherlands. So they also paid international shipping to go to the Netherlands.
Very cool. So Patricia says, how worth it is Grailed? My son sold a hoodie and got charged a crazy fee for it. So I don't really understand that because Grailed is, I think it's like just a flat 10%. And then there's also the payment processing. So it turns out to be like around like 13.5. So I don't really know how, how your kid got charged a crazy fee. I mean, there shouldn't be any additional fees other than just a percentage. So I couldn't tell you. I will say Grailed overall, like it originally was pretty good for me. My first year, I was doing really well on Grailed, like nothing crazy, but usually anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 a month. And that's dropped drastically for whatever reason. So it just depends. I mean, I think it's the best place. If you sell like vintage men's streetwear, it's probably the best place. One of the best places that you, no.
Grailed called it a partner's fee. She said, I don't know what that is.
I have no idea. I'll have to look that up.
That must be some type
show.
of advertising he clicked on.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's not a thing.
I've never seen that. Maybe it's a new program. Anyway, if you have it, basically what I'm saying is if you sell men's streetwear, then Grailed is worth at least trying out. I don't know. Vicky's talked about wanting to get on Grailed. I don't know that like it's really any good for women's stuff. Considering
I haven't bothered.
Yeah.
So anyway, another question. Oh, Jay asked what kind of fabric. So this dress, I think you mean, it's just some type of cotton blend.
Yeah. What percentage of sales would you estimate to be international? It used to be more. I think eBay has really screwed us over with like how they've changed up their international shipping. Everyone's talking about how wonderful it is. That's kind of like the word that they are trying to put out there.
Well, it's the new they're paid influencers paid to speak about.
That's what I'm saying. That's the new party. It's the new party line.
Yeah,
is how wonderful they're whatever. But all I know is that my international sales on eBay have dramatically plummeted. I still do really well with them on Etsy. At one point, I would say overall, I was doing 20% international. It's definitely not the case on eBay anymore. It's very rare that I get an international sale on eBay now, and that sucks.
I think I was like Katie. I was 20% between eBay and Etsy for the longest time international. And now I'd say I'm over 10%, but maybe not much over 10%.
It's a bummer. Anyway, all right, next up, this is another item that had gotten kicked off of my listings, and I was like, oh, cool, so I listed it. And this is where Mercari is just like you and that quilt. Every once in a while, Mercari's like, hey, don't forget about me. I know I give you terrible sales, but how about we give you this really good one? And so I sold this jacket for $126, and this is just a very basic...
racing stripe jacket.
Racing stripe
color though.
Doesn't have like any kind of logo on it. Doesn't have any kind of patch on it.
Yeah, but you
but
could
it
put
is
vintage
exactly,
patches
but
on
it is really cool, and it has like this zip out lining, so it's actually pretty warm as opposed to a lot of like those vintage racing jackets that are just more or less windbreakers. But just super cool. And again, I bought it forever ago. At most, maybe I paid $10 for it, but at this point, it's just free to me because it was sitting in the closet all by its lonesome for so long and not even listed. So I was very happy to get that sale on Mercari.
This I've had for quite a while. I do remember buying this. It did come from the bins originally, so I've had this for probably a year, maybe even 2 years. You know, selling vintage, a lot of stuff just sits. It is what it is for me. And because I have such a large closet and large inventory, I'm constantly turning it over. But vintage does take a long time to sell. A lot of vintage is long tail, and that's just the way it is. I've accepted that, and I like it. So this piece sold for the price you see there, $112 and change. You can actually see the feedback from that person it sold.
Nice.
Right on this page. But it's a really cool, like, swim cover up. It's very cool looking.
I love it. Yeah, Liz says that she's doing the EIS, which is the eBay International Shipping, which Vicky is too, Liz.
I
and
switched
hers has
to
gone
it.
down.
I
Hers has
switched
gone
to it
down.
after doing my own forever because
Yeah.
I was told that you have a better visibility if you're using it. And yeah.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
lost my extra income I would get on the international shipping they would pay, and I've lost some of my international sales. So we'll see. I don't know. I think eBay's just still a hot mess right now.
And Liz, that's exactly what happens with Mercari is you forget about them, and then it's so easy to cross post to them that it's like not a big deal, but it's just like, can I just get some more sales there? Come on, Mercari.
Yeah,
people.
I mean, exactly. I would not be on I would not be on any of these platforms actually if I was not using List Perfectly and they had made it so easy to cross post. Whatever you're doing, you need to be using cross posting software. I don't care which brand you use; it's up to you. Whatever one works for your company, but you need to be on more than one platform.
Absolutely. And you know, like I was talking about, I finally joined Posh. I found, Posh is now it's right in line behind, Etsy. It's my third platform that does at least moderately well. So I've got eBay as number one. Etsy sometimes battles it out with eBay, and then Posh. And then trailing behind, I've got Depop, Mercari, and Grailed, which combined together bring in a little bit. But it's those top three for me is eBay, Etsy, and Poshmark. Like, I don't know. I really wish I hadn't waited so long.
I mean, because I cross-post to other platforms, I'm a six-figure seller on eBay, and that does not mean what it used to mean, obviously, because fees are much higher, cost of goods are higher, all of that. But I'm a six-figure seller on eBay and have been for the past several years, but I am almost six figures combined on my other platforms as well. So I have almost doubled my income by cross-posting.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just making up for the horrible, sad little world that is my eBay sales. All right, next up, guys, I think Kansas City Chiefs is my new favorite football team. I don't care about football.
Thanks, Swift.
But, and also he's like kicking ass too. What's his name? Anyway, Travis, is that his name?
I don't know.
Anyway, we don't know anything about football. All I know is that they're doing well this year. I think they're still doing well. And I think I've now officially sold every single Kansas City Chiefs thing that I have. I've now sold a couple of sweatshirts. I've sold a t-shirt. I don't think I have anything left. But if you have anything Kansas City Chiefs, it is selling. Seriously. And so this is
Kansas
the second
City Swifties. Thanks, Tay-Tay.
This is the second Joe Montana sweatshirt I've sold. If you remember, I sold the one on Etsy for $200. It went up to Canada, but I think that was to a vintage shop that obviously had a buyer already lined up, probably for double the price, even that. But I sold this one for $110 on Poshmark. My Posh buyers, I love you. You're actually spending some real money. I love it. So $110. I've had this sweatshirt for a few years, probably. I think I paid like $20 for it, but it's a cool sweatshirt. I wasn't gonna undersell it. Some stuff I don't mind hanging on to. And apparently, I was just waiting for Taylor Swift to pick her new bow, and now
you could jack your prices up on all
I didn't jack my prices up at all, but
You should have.
No, I think 110 is pretty good.
Hey,
anyway.
Archie Biscuit Butt in the chat.
What's up, Biscuit Butt?
He showed up and came to the Boss Reseller Remix for the first year. Last year, he tagged along and kind of crashed our Fremont night.
What a jerk.
The Fremont night experience last year. But he actually came this year and bought a ticket and participated. And I think he had a good time.
Yeah.
I think he had a good time. So I'm glad that you came and you were able
Absolutely.
to enjoy it and see what it was all about.
Yeah, and he and Mikey Bags of Money took a really good prom picture, which I think is pretty awesome. So,
which we'll be posting all the pictures this week.
Yeah. All right, you go ahead.
So this was the last of my books. I had a whole bunch of sheet music books, but also tour program books that I had purchased from our friend Barry, Afro Vintage, here in town quite a while ago, probably like 2 years ago. I think I purchased them for either $5 a piece or $10 a piece. I don't remember, but there were some big bangers in there, and this happened to be one of them. This is not the kind of thing that he sells.
Did you get this the same time as that computer? Remember there was that computer that he picked up for you, and then we bought a bunch of these books out of the back of his car?
So I paid like $5, maybe $10 for it, and I was pretty happy to sell it. It sold for $127 plus shipping. It did go international. And this was an Etsy sale, so it was pretty great. So I'm keep an eye out for these type of things, tour books, whatever. This was not super rare, but there were not a ton of them. This is actually just a sheet music book. This isn't a tour book, and old school Madonna.
Very cool, very cool. All right, last sale, guys. Check it out. Another Poshmark buy. What? I picked up this LL Bean Goose Down jacket. I think I got this at the bins. I'm pretty sure I got this at the bins this year. But a little heavier, so I probably cost me maybe like $6 or something like that. But I sold it for $120. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let me tell you, I'm not only a posh twat, I'm fully a believer. I'm recruiting other twats as we speak. Seriously, all the things you've heard over the years of people saying like, oh, they take 20%, blah, blah, blah.
So does every other platform. eBay's at 20% at least.
Listen, I do free shipping on eBay. There's nothing I love more than selling something that's big like this on Poshmark and having them provide me the label. And now Grailed, they do Grailed labels now. So at first that was annoying. It was like, because I was like, I like having control over my own shipping. But now I've switched over my beliefs there. And so listen, a flat 20% and they provide the shipping label and it doesn't come out of my money. Fan-freaking-tastic. Grailed, now they provide the labels. Again, the buyer, they pay for their shipping and I get the label. And then now Depop is doing the same thing. Depop just switched over. You can still opt in to do your own labels and then you can pick how much you want to charge for them. Or you can just do Depop labels. And I was like, I'm in. Let's do this. Like, the more items I don't have to pay for shipping and they just give me a label, yes, let's do it.
People would complain that Posh was 20%. And I was one of those people originally when it first started. But, if you take a look and if you keep on top of your items and your sales costs and everything, eBay is a minimum of 20%. I'm telling you right now, I do promoted listings and I have a store. And I have over 4,000 items, almost 5,000 items in my store on eBay. And I'm going to tell you that my costs are at 19% on eBay before shipping.
Yeah.
So you guys need to take a look at some of that. The people that are not paying attention to where your costs really break down, Poshmark for that 20%, they earn it, as someone said in the chat. They do. Being able to give the ticket, get your shipping, your label, all that kind of stuff. Not worry about how you're packaging it and what you're shipping it in.
Yeah.
Not trying to cram something into a flat rate padded mailer to save money like we all do on the other platforms. So it's definitely worth it. Use a cross-posting software, whichever you use. Like I said, we use List Perfectly. We've been using them forever. The link is down below. You get 30% off your first month. If you happen to be somebody watching this that has not already used my link to sign up for List Perfectly, which a lot of you guys already have. But also, if you're not using them, use somebody. You need to be on more than one platform. Different buyers await on different platforms. And I cross-post all of my stuff. And like I said, I'm a 6-figure seller on eBay. And if I combine my other 3 platforms, I'm a 6-figure seller on those as well. So I'm selling over $200,000 a year of used crap that I have one-offs that I buy mostly at the bins that mostly are vintage and have no brands.
Yeah.
So if I can do that, then anybody can do that.
Well, and the thing is, when you do like what we do, and you're buying all your stuff from the bins, and it's vintage stuff that you can sell for higher prices, because we have such a low cost of goods, it allows us a lot of flexibility in how we sell and where we sell. But we're always looking to make more profit. So, a T-shirt, let's say that I bought for $1 at the bins, let's say I'm selling for $50 and I have it for $50 on Poshmark. I have it for $50 on eBay, but eBay, I have free shipping. So I sell that. With eBay, I might have, 12, 13% fees. Plus there might be a promoted listing fee of 7% on top of that. Bam, I'm right there at 20% fees already. But on top of that, because I do free shipping, what do you do?
I'm looking at what Big Mac says.
Let me finish what I'm saying. On top of that, because I have free shipping, which I'm not going to change on eBay. Let's say I do a $5 label. That's like another 10% fee. So now it's like basically like 30% fees on that item.
Well, and like Max says there, Posh charges you 20% on the sale price of the item. They're not charging you 20% on the shipping label. They're not charging you 20% on the sales tax, unlike eBay. Both eBay and Etsy charge you on the sales tax. The final value fee and everything is charged on your sales tax and the shipping paid by the buyer. So that stuff really adds up for sure.
It's clear cut. There's no ad stuff. Like Etsy now has like the offsite ads and all these other things, which is like fine. I still love Etsy. It's still actually my favorite platform. But there is something very refreshing about Poshmark where if I list something for $100, I know if I sell it, I'm going to make $80 cash. And there's nothing else that's going to be tacked on top of that. I saw somebody, Poochie's Pickers, talking about having an app that you can share your Posh closet. Yeah, I know. I use the one shop, which I like because it's only on your phone and you don't have to have your computer open. And that does my Posh. It does my Mercari. It does my Depop. So honestly, I would not be doing Posh if I had to do any of the sharing myself.
Oh God, no!
I don't.
The sharing, the following, the sharing to parties, the following this person, follow that person back.
I do nothing.
Total bullshit. I have no desire to do any of that. However, your items are completely stale if you're not doing that type of thing. So you need some type of bot. There are free ones, and there are the paid ones.
The bot that I use, it shares, it follows. It sends out offers when somebody likes my items, and it also relists or whatever, like refreshes listings. So yeah, otherwise I would never bother.
I wouldn't do any of that stuff if it wasn't for cross-posting software and bots that we use for Posh. And I get it. Everybody says, nobody uses bot. Listen, I'm telling you right now, if you have a big closet, everybody's using a bot. There's nobody not using one. They're just lying about it.
Poochie's Pickers, so the one I use, One Shop, it does bots for different platforms. So obviously it does my Posh. But for Mercari, you can set it up so you pick how long you want your listings to be up for. And then you can have it delist and relist. Mine is set up to be 30 days. So every 30 days, it'll take down my items and then relist them. So there's constantly, every day, new items being listed because it is doing that process. Now, do I make a lot on Mercari? No, I don't. But because I pay for this one bot that covers multiple platforms, it's worth it to me. I wouldn't pay for that just for Mercari.
Right, and they do a lot of things, but it's really... Both of us only use it for the bot thing because everything else they do poorly. If you can ignore the rest of it.
For the bot.
If you can ignore the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Julie, feel free to send us a message. We can give you the information on that, or the link.
It's pretty easy to find.
The link to our information is to message us is down below under the video. But
it's just an app. It's like a phone app. You download it from your app store. But yeah, and then it also refreshes Depop listings. So I use it for Depop, Mercari, and Posh. Anyway. That's about it. Now let's get into the last part of our show where we talk about our goals and things that we're trying to do. Did you fulfill any of your normal weekly goals? I don't remember
what the heck my goals were. To be honest with you, the answer to that is no.
No. So we horribly
failed.
Yes. Here's the thing, and we need to be better at this because listen, there's a lot of ways, even if you don't have somebody working for you that can keep your store going while you're gone.
Which neither of us do.
No. I mean, well, you have. I don't have anybody. I know you don't right now.
I have nobody.
I know you don't right now.
I am helperless.
I'm aware.
I am photographing clothing and listing it
we
myself
know about
like
your
a
woes,
savage.
You big baby. What I'm saying is, even when you had somebody, you weren't the best at this either. That when you go away, there's things you can do. You can schedule out listings. It takes you like 5 seconds to like end some listings and do sell similar. I still failed at that. It's like if I'm like somewhere else and I got other stuff going on, my full attention is on that.
We didn't even open our computers.
So we're terrible.
While we're at the remix, we didn't open our computers. First of all, I didn't bring mine with me. I didn't even care. We're so exhausted. You know, we're crawling into bed around midnight and up at 6 every day to be at the venue by 7:30 every day. And then going the entire day on talking to everyone, trying to be, host and hostesses and It's
fine.
It's fun, but it's a lot.
So we didn't do a whole lot with our businesses the last couple of weeks. This last week we've finally been getting back into listing. I mean, I will say that I probably listed about 30 items this last week, 30, 40 items. So it was an okay
I got about
week.
50 or 60 listed.
We just didn't do any videos, so that part of it was no good. But as far as our goals for this next week, we do have a full week that we can actually do some real work.
Thank you, baby Jeebus.
I'm going to go back to our goals of getting 2 pre-recorded videos out on our channel this next week. Mm-hmm. And then I do want to get at least 50 items listed. I think I'm going to go to the bins tomorrow morning, since I haven't been in a few weeks now, and I'm sure I've missed out on all kinds of amazing, crazy stuff. But that's going to be my goal. What's your goal?
So I have no need to source still. I still have so much stuff from the last Colorado trip, plus the stuff that Callie gave to me that I just washed and sorted yesterday. I have 6 totes full of clothing, 6 of those orange and yellow and black totes that are full, and an entire rack of clothing that I need to photograph and list. So my goal, because I'm doing this all myself now, instead of doing 200 listings a week, is to do 100 listings a week. When I have a helper, I can do 200. Myself, I can do 100. And that's, cleaning, staging, photographing, and listing from scratch.
True.
So my goal is to do 100. I can do 100.
Yeah.
My 15 a day-ish. I can't do all day photographing sessions anymore. My back just can't take it. So I do an hour or 2 of photographs and, photograph 25, 30 items. And then I list for 2 days. Then I do it all over again. And that's what I've been doing for the past week or 2. Just trying to
hating every minute of it.
Hating every minute of it.
Crying loudly. Lots of
bitching and moaning.
Lots of bitching and moaning.
I am not a fan of taking... Listen, I hired out and got an assistant for the first time almost 6 years ago for a reason. I was trying to level up my business, and I was able to do that by getting a helper, and I had that person helping me doing listings and photographing clothing. And then I had Crystal, and Crystal pretty much did all of my clothing listings for 3 to 4 years in my clothing drafts. I absolutely hate photographing, measuring, and listing clothing.
And she never shuts up about it, you guys. So...
I need a new helper. So I do have somebody interviewing with me at the beginning of November when we get back from Colorado, and I'm hoping that will work out for both of us. She is a seller that lives here in town that heard my cry for help, that watches the channel.
I mean, who didn't hear your cry for help? Let's be honest here. But we will be back with next week's show, and then we'll talk about what we're going to be doing while we're in Colorado, because that will definitely change up our goals, of course, because we're going to be in source mode, not in listing mode. But I'm working on setting up a couple of private buys for myself and Ryan and anyone else that wants to come along, and within our group. And then also we've got our big tour with Arc Thrift. I'm hoping I can find a little bit of treasure in their dirty clothing pile.
Okay, speaking of Callie and the items, she says, I'm selling or sold my janitorial business. You both inspired me to have the confidence to go full time.
Yes.
Good for you.
Awesome.
Good for you. That's
awesome.
Nice to hear. You can totally do it.
And apparently Danica's here to tell us car.
I don't know what that means. Just car.
Yeah. Danica, who we kidnapped, took to our house and forced her to hang out with us for almost a week after the remix. And then she left us, which we were very sad about, but oh well.
Callie, you can totally do it. I'm excited for you.
Absolutely.
So if anybody has any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat, but also put in what your goals for the week are in the chat.
Yeah, we want to know.
We want to know what are your goals that you're setting? Are you going to, I don't know, organize your shipping station? Are you going to get 50 items listed? Are you going to get 10 items listed? Yeah. Whatever your goal is, it's nice to put it out into the universe because it holds you accountable.
Yep.
And
manifest that shit.
Yeah, put it out there.
Come on, you can do it. Maybe
Alexis says maybe Danica's in the trunk of a car. That's possible. Maybe car was all she could pick out on her phone. Danica, what? Hello? Do you need help?
The last night she was here at her house, Danica and I stayed up so late, and then Vicky was like, "What are you doing?" It was, I don't even know how late it was. How late was it?
It was like 1:30. I went to bed. I was
knew. Well, you went to bed at like 10.
I might have smoked a little something, which I never do, and
a little bit of the hashish. No, just kidding.
It just made me really tired, and I just looked at them at like 10 o'clock and went, "I'm going to bed, guys."
But I knew that she was leaving the next day, and because she stayed at her house like 4 nights, and I didn't want her to leave, so I wanted to hang out as long as possible. So come on. Oh, she's laughing, or her captor's laughing. We don't know which. We'll have to wait until she can send us a picture of herself with today's current newspaper. To know that she truly is.
Retail Rehab says, I'm 9 months pregnant, managed to get 500 items sourced and listed in the past 3 months. Good for you.
Wow.
I have a small pile to list, but it's ready for me when I return from having the baby. You know what? That might be a minute. Just so you know. I don't know if this is your first child or not, but I'm just going to tell you, in case it is your first child, you're not going to be even looking at doing any of that for a minute. You're just going to be tired and in love and basking in that baby. So congratulations in advance. Enjoy that little baby. Don't worry about your stuff being listed. It'll be there when you have a minute, when you have time to after you've adjusted.
Absolutely. Heather just signed a lease for a booth today, so congrats for that. I hope that goes well. I know that those can be... I know some people do really, really well with booths, and some people have a harder time. So I hope that you got one of the good ones. It's in a good location.
I did terrible with mine.
I love going to like those big spaces that have like a bazillion different booths with all kinds of different stuff. So I'm hoping that you got a good one and it's going to go really well for you. But yeah, we know people who do very well.
Oh, we know lots of people do very well with it. I mean, Cheryl does. Our friend Stuart White. Lots of people do really well in booths. Yeah, it's just not... I mean, I did it back in Rhode Island. I think everybody that is a reseller, if you have the ability to try it, should try it at least once. Rent some space in an antique market, an antique mall, and, I think it's a good thing. If it's just clothing, no. If you're doing hard goods, yes. Just clothing is not as good for those. But they're fun. They're fun. I had a lot more theft than sales in mine. So for me, I was like, meh, I'm out.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's funny because you always see people like complaining about, scam buyers and this happened and that happened. This got lost and this person sent me back a brick. And it's like they don't really realize that, like, if you have a brick and mortar store, you have shrinkage, you have stuff that disappears, and it's going to happen a lot more often than you being out 1 or 2 items a year due to any number of reasons. Which, I mean, really, I've only ever lost from either getting lost in the mail or because of something scammy, like once, maybe twice. Like it really almost never happens.
I've been on eBay for 26 years. I'm going to say I can probably count on both hands how many times I've been very badly scammed or had a really bad buyer. Under 20. Maybe more than 10. Probably fewer than all my fingers and toes anyway.
Yeah. Well, and now with like Ground Advantage, anything that's like, even the stuff that's under £1 is insured for up to $100, which I get the USPS is terrible when it comes to claims for damage, but if it doesn't even show as delivered, they're gonna like give you your money back.
Yeah,
there's nothing they can really do about that.
They help with loss easy,
and so I don't have to worry so much about like stuff getting broken, obviously, because I'm selling clothing. But anyway,
Liz, I'm excited to see you do some stories, some sales in your Instagram stories. I do have that vintage site that I'm going to be getting up on, and I'm going to be doing a live sale. I'm aiming for the end of November to do my first live sale on there. It's similar to Whatnot, but it multicasts. So I'm kind of excited about that stuff. But
very cool. All right, I think we're going to wrap things up. And
see, it wasn't even that long. An hour and 17 minutes.
Even with all our yapping.
Even with all the yippity yap.
We got to go to the grocery store because we haven't like actually bought full on.
We have not gone grocery shopping in like a month at least.
Yeah. Well, it's more like, oh, we want to have this for dinner tonight. Let's go to the grocery store and get the 3 ingredients we need. But as far as like doing like a full on grocery shopping trip, it's been a while, guys. We've been eating a lot of garbage.
For sure.
And we need some meals, and it's getting chilly now. Vicky's over here with her little hoodie.
I got my hoodie on.
She's got her little mitts tucked into her little kangaroo pouch there.
RBG hoodie.
So it's sweater weather. So we're ready to have some good hearty meals.
I see Joe and Nicole in the chat a couple of times. I just want to say hi. We didn't say hi. But I saw you say that Nicole wants to come and do a roper romp. You guys are welcome anytime. Anytime you want to come out to Vegas.
Where's Yuri's bag? Are we supposed to open it on camera?
Yes, we're going to do it on the video. We didn't open it yet.
What video are we going to do?
We're going to do our when we do a haul video this week.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we were supposed to do it now. Yeah, Yuri will do it in one of the videos that comes out this week.
I got it, Yuri. I have it put aside so that we can open it.
Yeah, it's all good.
This video this week, we're going to do it before we get to see you again in Colorado. So our friends that we get to see in Colorado that we just saw, I'm very excited. Spend some time just hanging out.
Yes, Tommy, it's same Yuri.
We rented a big old Airbnb.
Yeah, it's going to be nice.
We're going to have a good time.
Well, I was telling Vicky, I'm so glad we get to hang out with our friends again so soon after the remix. And this time we're not having to run an event. And we just get to hang out and have fun.
That's why we tried to do some of the hanging out like before the remix started.
Yeah.
Some of our friends that came into town early. Not that you're not all of our friends, but some of our friends that came into town early, they came in on Saturday or Sunday. So we tried to hang out Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
But then it's like
you're
you're anticipating this big event. So now it's like we just get to go and relax. Of course, we did arrange for tours and private buys. So we still have stuff that we have to manage, but nothing that's hard. It's all fun stuff.
And Yuri, the slot machine winner. Yes. How do you think she's joining us last minute in Colorado? Little Miss paid for that trip with her slot winnings.
Accidentally, with a little bit of too much booze, bet $100 in one spin and won. Ridiculous.
Yuri is awesome.
All right, guys, we're going to head out. We really appreciate you coming and hanging out with us after our little hiatus, and be on the lookout for a couple of videos this week. And then we will be back here next Sunday before we take off for Colorado. Don't you worry, and we will see you soon. But have an awesome week.
Everybody, be well.
Is that your new tagline?
Yeah, I don't have
Everybody, be well.
I don't have one.
Bye.